Hello guys, and welcome back to episode 2 of PokeStuff, all about the Pokemon trading card game. Last week, we went and covered the new set Plaza Storm, along with some of the cards in that set that will seriously rack up some good deck ideas. So in this week's episode, we'll be taking a look at a fun deck analysis of a not-so-competitive deck featuring Plasma Storm cards. This deck is Durant, Aagron, Weezing. Now, this deck is completely not designed for tournaments, just for playing with friends if you want to try something different other than what we've been seeing at cities, regionals, and presumably at states, which will be coming around in a month. So without further ado, let's get on to the analysis. Now, you might be thinking, what difference does this deck have compared to the regular Durant deck? Well, the answer lies in a new Plasma Storm card known as Weezing. Let's take a closer look. Weezing has an ability called Aftermath, which states that when Weezing gets knocked out by damage from an opponent's attack, you discard the top 3 cards of his or her deck. The attack, called Smog Bang, does 20 damage to all your opponent's Pokemon. So if your opponent has a full bench, you're dealing a whoopee 120 damage. Pretty sweet. Combined with Durant and Aagron, you've got yourself a supreme deck devouring machine. Also, with Colress released, people have started to turn away from end, which means that if your opponent has a big hand, he or she won't be able to end his or her deck back to a bigger size, which is mandatory late game when it's down to the last few turns. Another thing I want to add is that all of today's metagame decks include cards that are very crucial, so it probably won't function correctly when you discard their resources. Take for example, when you discard the Blastoise from Keldeo decks, or Electrics from Eel decks, or other cards that are needed to make the deck work. Durant, Aagron, Weezing is a deck that will probably stop all others. But again, like I said, this deck isn't very competitive, especially when you want to hit high events like National or Worlds. But anyone with skill can make this deck work. So with that, let's take a look at the deck list. So here's the list for the deck. I'll be going over the cards in it just so you guys can get a clear idea of how the deck works and stuff like that. So yeah, let's get started. So first off, we have 4 Durants, which is necessary to keep those streams of Devour going. A 3-1-3 line of Aagron for the toppling win ability, and a 3-3 Weezing line, pretty staple. So onto the trainers. We have 3 Juniper for draw power, 2 Skyla for searching out cards, 3 Hugh, just to make your opponent discard more cards when his or her hand is super big, 3 Colress, because you're almost always going to have a full bench, so this card acts like a Professor Oak's new theory in the previous format, 2 Ultra Ball, 2 Level Ball, and 2 Heavy Ball for searching out the Pokemon to make this deck work, 3 Devolution Spray for reusing Aagron's ability, 3 Catchers, pretty self-explanatory, 1 Super Rod to shuffle back in cards that are mandatory for this deck, 3 Rare Candy to get into those Aagrons quicker, 3 Switch, just in case one of your heavy retreaters like Aagron gets stuck in the active position by an opponent's catcher. And lastly, the ace-spec card for this deck is going to be Computer Search, just in case you're missing a card needed for the amazing comeback, or maybe even the game. Like for example, the last Rare Candy to discard the remaining 3 cards from your opponent's deck. And finally, the energies. We have 8 Metal for Durant, and 4 Psychic for Weezing. And that's pretty much the deck. So as you can see, it's somewhat an offense deck with Weezing, but my suggestion would be to start off with a stream of Durants combined with Aagron, and finish it off with Weezing's powerful attack. So that's pretty much it for this week's episode of PokeStuff. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, or if you have a suggestion for this deck on how to make it better, please leave them, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel to keep up to date on all my latest videos and all that good stuff. So once again, thanks for watching, I'm Pretzel1000, and I will see you in the next episode.